Back in the 80s and 90s, Nintendo was on top of the video game world, unlike today. They were unmistakably, indisputably #1 over everybody. They had nearly 80% of the video game market and released great title after great title over and over again.
Now you're playing with power.
And there was nothing anybody could do about it. They had a monopoly over everybody that developed games for them.
They come, they try, they like, and they buy, and it's a fun business.
Especially fun if there's no competition.
And with the Nintendo Entertainment System, they single-handedly saved the video game industry in America after the video game crash in 1983, which is another story in and of itself. But this wasn't the case for some time. Nintendo wasn't really a thing in America. Nobody knew who they were, and they had no market in the West. They had some games, but nothing really anybody cared about. The game I'm going to talk about today was one they thought could change everything. One that would make them a thing in America and around the world. So, what was Radarscope? And what happened? As I said before, in the early 80s, Nintendo was pretty obscure. They had owned and created a lot of things for many different markets, like toys and card games. All of a sudden, this new thing called electronic video games was gaining ground around the world, with games like Pong, Asteroids, and Space Invaders becoming really popular. Nintendo saw opportunity in this, and they wanted in. So they made some games. A lot of different games, actually. Well, not that many. When eventually, they created Radarscope. The game was released in Japan in 1979 and around the world in 1980. Basically, you're a satellite or radar or something, and all you have to do is protect the space station by shooting up ships. You can only move left and right. You have a damage meter, and if you get hit enough times, you'll die. The controls are really simple. Move, shoot. That's it. Very, very basic. Not really that creative either. And that for me is one of the game's problems. It's just kinda It's Space Invaders, or Galaga, even though Galaga was released later. The game does have some interesting stuff going on with the graphics. Kinda looks like there's scaling, but other than that, it doesn't really do anything new. Yes, I know how old it is, I'm taking age into consideration, and it doesn't have anything interesting to attract anyone to play it for any reason. If you do play it, you won't necessarily have a bad time. It's not outright horrible, just very forgettable. Which is why people forgot about it. For a time, Radarscope was more popular in Japan than Pac-Man was. Nintendo's president, gotta hope I say this right, Minoru Arakawa, ordered a lot of cabinets to be shipped over here to the US. He thought that the popularity would translate over here into the West. It didn't. By the time Radarscope came over here to America, the hype had died down and nobody really cared anymore. The reception was mixed to negative and it was considered a commercial failure. People didn't care for the gameplay and found the sound effects the game made really annoying, which they are. Did you know that this was the first game that Shigeru Miyamoto helped make in Nintendo? I'll get back to that. Because of the game's failure, there were many cabinets left unsold in warehouses. When the CEO of Nintendo of America, Hiroshi Yamauchi, asked Miyamoto to quickly make a new game that ran on Radarscope's hardware so that the game and its cabinet could be converted into a new game. And he did. That game that he created was Donkey Kong, which was way more popular, received very positive reviews, and put Nintendo on the map. It gave the world Donkey Kong and Mario, who at the time went by Jumpman. And the rest, you probably already know. You can tell it converted Radarscope to Donkey Kong cabinet by its color. It should be red instead of the usual light blue. Because a lot of the Radarscope cabinets were unsold and converted, it's hard to find and kind of rare. Nintendo doesn't even mention the game, and it's obscure enough as it is. And that's probably why I decided to make this video. I wondered, what if Radarscope was successful? What if we lived in a world without Mario? The gaming industry probably wouldn't even exist. Who knows? The crash could have lasted much longer, it could have never recovered, anything could have happened. So, in a way, I'm kind of glad Radarscope failed. In the end, it really helped Nintendo. It helped everyone. Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong, Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Super Smash Bros., and basically nothing else anymore, are still going to this very day. But to be honest, as of now, or the past 12 years, however you want to see it, Nintendo hasn't been doing that well. What I mean is, is that they're basically playing catch up with everybody else. Barely even doing that. I don't know where Nintendo's going to be in the future, especially with the Wii U, 3DS, and the upcoming NX, but wherever it goes, I hope they turn it around. Kind of like what they did with one of their first arcade games. I'm ZeroNight, and that's about it. You know, Disney and Nintendo have a lot in common. If they want you to forget about something, they will make you forget about it.